When hearing the phrase Throne of Agony, many things come to mind. A dentist chair, an electric chair, even a toilet after Taco Tuesday. However, today I'll be talking about Dungeon Siege, Throne of Agony, an action RPG in the style of Diablo for the beautiful PSP, developed by Supervillain Studios and published by 2K in the US in 2006 and by Take-Two Interactive in the PAL region in 2007. If you're expecting a proper full-blown entry into the Dungeon Siege series with all of its mechanics intact for a portable device made in 2004, I think you're out of your mind. Instead, what we have here is more of a spin-off with simplistic and almost formulaic gameplay, which still manages to be a quite enjoyable experience. Let's check it out. Throne of Agony's story picks up where Dungeon Siege 2 left off, with the death of Voltis and the destruction of Zaramov's horns, which causes a massive cataclysm, leaving the world broken and in complete disarray. Amidst the chaos, a new evil emerges, Malith, a former leader of the Agalian Giants, who uses the power of the Throne of Agony to spread corruption across Arana. There are 3 characters in total, each with a different story and motivation for being here. Mogrim the Warlord is compelled by his magic tattoo to go north. Seren the Shadow Stalker has visions of a throne and decides to follow her instincts. Alistair the Battlemage tries to find his girlfriend, who left on a quest to seek a powerful artifact. Each character gets their own unique little cutscenes, and I think it's overall a neat idea to have a different storyline for each character. It makes the experience more engaging and replayable, and it's not something many ARPGs do. Eventually though, all storylines converge into the final act of defeating Malith and making the choice of either sitting on the Throne of Agony or destroying it. Having a chair be the ultimate evil of his world is a stylistically bold and somewhat silly choice, but in any case, you're not really playing an ARPG for the story, are you? The moment you take control of your character, it is obvious that the game's presentation is strong, especially for an old handheld game. The graphics are beautiful and the models, although low poly, are decently textured, and there is a lot of detail in each area. Environments are also varied, as you will explore lush forests, magic caves, ruined villages, dark and mysterious dungeons, among other places. Even though the graphics are pretty cartoony, they manage to evoke a darker tone when needed. Animations are pretty serviceable as well, although the walking cycle of my character was a bit weird, as if he was rushing to the Throne of Agony for an emergency evacuation. My only other complaint is that the overworld is a bit simplistic, both graphically and in terms of models, with vast empty areas and too many tiled textures. As for the music, it's nothing really special. It serves more as a background companion to your constant killing and looting, but it suits each occasion well, and I enjoyed it for what it was. The sound effects, on the other hand, were disappointing. They are very sparse and have no variation, leading to repetition and annoyance. It was especially egregious that hitting an enemy produced the exact same sound effect regardless of your weapon or spell. Combined with the fact that some of the sound effects are from the same stock library used in countless other games, the sound design feels underdeveloped. Thankfully though, everything else regarding the game's presentation is on point, leading to a beautiful adventure through the game's world. When it comes to Throne of Agony's gameplay, if you're expecting the same depth and complexity as the previous titles, you'll be greatly disappointed. The experience here is much more basic and stripped down, but that is not necessarily a bad thing. Like I said before, this is an ARPG Diablo-styled game. You control your character from an isometric perspective, you defeat enemies, complete quests, loot equipment, and gain experience to become progressively stronger. Each of the 3 characters feels one of the classic role-playing archetypes of warrior, mage, and rogue, and you can have a follower to help you out with all the action. Throughout the game, you can also find and recruit additional followers. Each one can level up and gain new abilities by visiting the village's trainer. Unfortunately, most of them are pretty useless. They're weak, damage-wise, and very squishy, meaning that on later levels they will die constantly. You can revive a follower either by using an item or by visiting the village's healer, but it's a hassle and not worth doing. After a certain point, I stopped using followers, or only used the ones that would stay out of harm's way and were capable of healing or buffing me. As for the combat itself, things are simple. You have a basic weapon attack and different spells or abilities you can map to different button combinations. Alistair can throw fireballs, Mogrin can bash things with his weapons, and Sarin is quick and nimble. There are no skill trees per se, you have abilities that you unlock at specific levels and improve by using skill points. When you reach a certain level, you can select a hero class, which unlocks a new set of abilities, and after that, there is also a legendary class, which further increases your ability pool. So there is some variation when it comes to your skills, incentivizing replayability. It's a shame that the class descriptions are pretty vague, making it a gamble on what you're going to eventually unlock, because you level up at a consistent pace, and you'll always have something new to work towards unlocking or improving. Of course, you can also increase your stats as well, with strength increasing your melee power, agility improving your armor, dodge chance and ranged power, stamina making you healthier, willpower making you more efficient with magic attacks, and luck being a dump stat helping with magic find chance. Equipment also comes in different color varieties, with plain, magic, enchanted, and legendary items hidden in treasure chests or enemy loot drops. Pretty standard stuff, although it pisses me off that carrying capacity and armor restrictions are tied to your strength stat, making a pure mage build effectively useless compared to the melee ones, that get all the benefits and don't have to spread their stats around. Equipment is also nothing too spectacular either, with a more powerful gear simply increasing your stats and not changing up the gameplay a whole lot. It doesn't really matter anyway though, because this game is super easy. There are no selectable difficulties at the start of a game. You can replay the game in hard mode once you finish it, but that's it. Besides that, you'll only be fighting a few enemies at a time, and they're not very smart to begin with. Melee enemies just charge you with basic pathfinding, ranged enemies just sit stoically and pelt you with what they have. Sometimes they don't even attack, or are easily exploited, either by abusing their broken pathfinding or by abusing their broken line of sight. Ranged attacks are overpowered in Throne of Agony because you can hit and kill an enemy without ever triggering their line of sight. Even if an enemy chases you, they'll eventually give up and go to their original position, making them easy prey to your constant kiting. I was pretty underleveled throughout the adventure and I never hit a wall that would force me to reconsider my strategy. Potions are cheap and plentiful. Dying means you just restart the level as is, without the enemies respawning. It was a breeze. Unfortunately, this makes the game pretty mindless and boring, as there is no real challenge, making the combat more tedious than engaging. But I think if you want a more casual experience for your handheld gaming, this is the perfect ARPG for you. There is a vast world to explore, either by boat or on foot, with many secret areas and items, as well as hidden side quests to find, while there is also a multiplayer function as well. Yes, the combat is a bit slow and janky, with enemy hitboxes being massive and nonsensical, while their AI is in the single digits, and the game's difficulty will barely provide a challenge. But it's a pretty engaging and fun experience, perfect for quick sessions of slaying enemies and looting chests on your bus ride home. Just keep the volume down, the old lady next to you is trying to sleep, okay? For the hardcore ARPG fan or the die-hard follower of the Dungeon Siege series, Throne of Agony may be nothing more than a silly distraction. Thankfully for me, I'm neither of those things, and had a great time with it. It's a pretty basic and stripped-down role-playing experience, lacking any sort of involved and complex gameplay, but it looks good, it plays well, and it's a bit of mindless hack-and-slash fun. At the end of the day, that's all that matters. And that's pretty much it. That's Dungeon Siege Throne of Agony in a nutshell. Thank you very much for watching, leave a comment or a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more game reviews. Have a great day, and until next time, take care and have fun.